All right, today's episode is a special one and honestly a little bittersweet. I've got Meg Murphy with me, one of our stylists at Hustle and Heart, and someone who showed up right when I needed her the most. I had just made the shift to only doing extensions and passed off all of my color guests. And then the stylist I passed them to decided to leave. So here I am, mid what the heck do I do now moment, and in walks Meg. Her application, hands down the funniest, most entertaining one I've ever received. Truly frame it and hang it on the wall level good. She ended up jumping in early than planned, picked up so many of my original clients, and fit in like she'd been part of the team forever. But here's the thing, Meg is a military wife, which means she's only ever somewhere for a few years. So as much as I'd love to keep her forever, we always knew this chapter had an end date. Today, we're talking about what it really looks like to build and rebuild a career when your life is constantly on the move. The beauty and the heartbreak of it, the transition from being an independent stylist to working commission, and the strength it takes to start over again and again with your head held high and your heart still open. This one's full of laughter, honesty, and so much realness. So let's get into it. Hey friend, I'm Jessica, and this is With My Whole Heart. I'm a real-life woman juggling a lot of real-life things, raising girls, running a hair salon, chasing big dreams, and doing my best to stay grounded through it all. If you've ever found yourself in the thick of it, somewhere between who you've been and who you're becoming, this space is for you. Here, we talk about the middle, the messy, meaningful, beautiful middle. The big leaps, the small wins, the hard lessons, and the heart-led pivots. From business and beauty to faith, motherhood, and everything in between, nothing's off limits. So grab your coffee or your tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. Because this journey, we're walking it together with our whole hearts. Hello, Meg.
Woohoo!
We are here. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions and I want you to answer them honestly. This is a really great episode for stylists who have to rebuild, whether they are a military stylist or they are just moving to a different state or even sometimes just a different city and having to rebuild their entire career. So let's start from the beginning. What led you to find Hustle and Heart on Instagram? Or was it Instagram? Google.
I had just started working with Original Mineral Color, so the whole holistic hair care. And when I Googled Duluth, Minnesota, Original Mineral, you and one other salon popped up.
Sure.
Other salon gave small, boutique, independent, two stylists kind of thing. So I honestly didn't even reach out because I just knew that wasn't going to work for me.
Sure.
So then I clicked on you and you had an application process and everything. So that's how
you found us.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. You came in at the perfect time. Can you talk about how it felt stepping in early to help cover my color clients when everything was shifting? And I want to backtrack a little bit. So this was truly a moment of, oh crap, like what am I going to do? Because I had literally just made the decision in my career to stop doing all other services except for just extension guests. So I had a full book of clients that I had passed on to a stylist. And in that time, that stylist decided to leave and go independent, which that's great. But I had a lot of those clients who wanted to stay with me because they're loyal clients. And I'm like, what do I do with them? So I called Meg up and I'm like, listen, I think you were on the road, like traveling.
No, I remember laying on my air mattress because the movers had taken all my stuff from Portland, laying on the air mattress and you sending me voice memos on Instagram and I could like hear the panic in your voice.
Yeah,
I could hear it. You're like, hey, so when can you start? And
I'm like, can you start earlier?
I swear the movers brought my stuff. I unpacked it for like a week. And then you're like, all right, you ready?
Yep.
Like I didn't even have a license. I had to pay to have a license expedited.
Yep. Oh, she saved my butt. But yes, so let's talk about how it felt stepping in early to cover my color clients when everything else was shifting. Like did it feel good or was it like overwhelming? Or was it both?
No, it felt good
Yeah.
because I relocated where I didn't know anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Really wasn't into social media, like anything like that. And then you just gave me a platter with clients on it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was like, hello.
Yeah.
To start making money right away.
Right.
That doesn't normally happen.
Yes. Her onboarding was like non-existent. I'm like, here's the keys. Because it was.
Here's the keys. I'm going camping.
Yes, it was
That's
over.
what you.
Was it over a holiday? It was. There was something going on in my life. It was like a holiday situation.
Labor Day?
Where I couldn't. I'm like, I'm going. I gotta go. It was wild.
It was crazy.
It was crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked. Thank God. Because that could have backfired big time on me.
No, because who was there? Sam was gone.
Everyone.
You were gone.
It was like a holiday weekend where everybody was gone.
I don't even know if Danielle was there. It was just like you literally just gave me the keys and said,
"Be careful with her." Yeah,
yeah. Like didn't even know me. Bye.
I'm like, please just treat her well.
I'm like, okay.
It was so funny. Okay, so let's talk about the application. What were you thinking when you hit send? Because it was hands down the most entertaining one I've ever gotten. And I wish for this podcast I would have brought it with me to read it because I was like, how do I not hire her? This is like the funniest thing I've ever read. It wasn't like your traditional application.
Well, because your application is
intense.
A million questions.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I like started out applying like a normal application. But then I like knew your game. That you were just trying to weed out people who won't sit down
and take the time to
fill it out, pretty much. Because I remember at one of the last questions, it says like, how much money do you want to make?
Yes,
and it's like, who asks some, as hairstylist that? And so I remember writing out like, enough to make my target runs or something.
Yes,
but I knew
you knew my spiel.
I knew the game.
Yeah, it was so funny. Okay, next question. What were your first impressions walking into the salon for the interview and then those first few weeks? Because you did come in for an actual interview.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't just like a. So when we say she wasn't onboarded, I mean like when she started, it was just quick. We did actually have an interview process. She filled out the application. We did an interview. Mm-hmm. But we did kind of skip some of the things I typically do. Like I didn't have you do a practical interview because I just knew that I wanted you to work here.
No, and First impressions, well, for one, I hate technical interviews. And I don't even know if I were to apply to another salon and they said, do a technical. I don't know. Because I'm like traumatized from them.
Yeah. You have some trauma from them. Yes.
No, so I remember I was not happy at the salon I worked at in Portland. It wasn't my vibe. The space wasn't it. It just wasn't a fit for me. I knew I needed something different. So then walking in, the salon's obviously beautiful. And I could tell it was like a well-oiled machine. Yeah. That there was like everything there. Back bar, color, a booking system.
Right.
So it was like, obviously it's a beautiful space. So that was like, hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
But then also, I was so going, into commission, being paranoid that you were going to say nights and weekends. Yes. Two words. Two things I never want to hear. And you said, oh, do you want to work Tuesday through Friday and then do weddings on Saturdays?
You're like, yes, please.
Yep. Where do I sign?
Right. Yeah. Yes, because that's one thing we do a little bit differently. Like, so we are a commission salon, but we try to make it where people have, obviously when you're a newbie, like, and you're right out of beauty school, you're going to be working some nights and weekends just because you're building a clientele and filling in the gaps. Yeah. But if you're an established stylist, like we want you to be able to kind of like create your dream schedule. So I'm glad that worked out. Okay. So was there anything unexpected or surprising as you were getting started? Like anything that you were just like maybe even in a good way, surprised in a good way?
I guess like looking, because I've done hair now for a while and I was like raised in like an old school commission salon where you would like do anything for a client.
Right.
Like back breaking.
Yeah.
So stepping into, which this had already kind of started when I was on the West Coast, but then you really are pretty hardcore about having like stylists having boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're done at 5:30, you're done at 5:30.
Right.
So that was kind of, because I thought coming back to the Midwest, it was going to be that old, like someone wants you to stay late, like you stay late. Like why would you turn away that money?
Yeah, like how dare you turn that away?
Basically. So I was like happy, surprised, for you to have like good boundaries with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is like the funny story moment that we talked about earlier. So we have to talk about the story of when you locked yourself out of the salon. So you just tell the story because you say it the best, but I want you to tell us how did you play it cool? And just share the story of what happened. So this was literally like what, week 2 maybe?
Maybe.
It was within the first month.
This actually this happened Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
Because Sean went to Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So, 5 hours away?
Yes.
So the salon, for people listening, they don't know, we're in an apartment building. So the door is locked.
Yes, it's a secure building.
So when clients, they have to call the number.
Mm-hmm.
We go run down, let them in.
Yes.
I go let the clients in. It was for a bridal trial. So the bride and groom, the groom came because they were from out of town.
Yeah.
I lock us out of the salon.
Like locked
completely,
out.
like locked.
Yeah.
Locked.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't play it cool because I'm just not wired that way. So instantly.
And when locked, meaning everything was in the salon.
Phones, keys, everything. So these people are standing there. I'm instantly like panic mode. Yes. The only person I know, my husband, who's 5 hours away, I don't even have his phone number memorized in my head to even call him. If you were to hand me a phone even right now and say, call Sean, punch his number in,
I wouldn't be able to.
No. So I basically have full panic mode. I have tears in my eyes.
Yep.
Tears in my eyes. The bride. So then at this point, I'm like troubleshooting.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have Facebook? She goes, oh, I don't have it downloaded. So she goes on the Safari on her phone, has to remember her password, logs onto Facebook, and we message Danielle.
And Danielle was still newish.
And Danielle is like, to get a reaction out of Danielle is like insane.
Yeah, to have her actually like see the message and open the message was a miracle.
There, she messaged back, we say, hey, we're locked out. This is Meg's client. We're locked out in the hallway.
Yeah.
She goes, be there in a little bit.
Yeah.
Walks in, unlocks the door, and just walks away.
Turns around and walks out. What? So anybody who knows Danielle, she's just stoic. She's a very stoic, she's hilarious once you get her to open up. But yeah. But for her to even see the message is legit a miracle.
Like at this point, the couple was like, we'll just drop you off at your house.
Yeah. Like it was,
okay.
Let's just call it a day. Call it good.
It ended up working out.
It worked out.
People were really nice.
Thank God.
But I think
because that could have been, what if it would have been a bridezilla? Like that could have been
the groom was like, went to like dad mode.
Oh,
I had like tears. He's like,
it's okay.
You're okay. You're not in trouble. Like giving me, I'm like, okay.
That's so funny. That story. I mean, and I will say, I feel like every stylist has done it once, but yours takes the cake because of like the whole situation. Because nobody was there. Like normally we can like knock on the door or the window and another stylist will come and let you in. But like you legit were the only person there.
Only person.
In
the hallway.
And like brand new to town and
no one to save me.
No one to save. Well, Danielle. Thank you, Danielle. Danielle, you came and saved the day. Yeah. Oh, I love that story. It's so funny. So looking back, do you feel like that sums up what it was like to start fresh in a new place? The whole story is just kind of like that's just what it is. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hey friend, real quick before we dive back in. If you've been nodding along, tearing up, or laughing with me in these episodes, can I ask you a little favor? Make sure you've subscribed to With My Whole Heart so you never miss an episode. And if you've got a second, leaving a review helps so much. It's like giving the podcast a little hug. And hey, if something hit home or you just want to share your story, come DM me on Instagram. I seriously love chatting with you and hearing what's on your heart. This space was built to be a soft landing and a strong launch pad. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, back to the episode. So let's talk about you transitioning from independent to commission, because I've talked about this, I believe, in other episodes of how I believe that you can find success in any structure. There's so many different ways to get paid in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you hear salons like if you're independent, you can make good money. I believe you can make good money being commission, salary. Like there's all different ways, team-based pay, all of the things. I don't ever like to dog on any forms of payment within our industry because I feel like you can find success in any of them. But I do find it is an interesting transition sometimes from independent to commission, because I have done all of the different. I've been team-based, like commission. I've been independent commission. I've been independent, like a suite independent, team independent. And I love that you were independent and you switched to commission. So I want to talk a little bit about that and kind of like your thoughts on it. And obviously when you're moving to a new city, that kind of definitely is probably the structure you'd want to go for. But what was, before Hustle and Heart Salon, you were working independently. What made you decide to make the switch to a commission salon?
Yeah, this is the most loaded.
Question.
Locked and loaded. What made me switch to commission? The fact that I didn't know anyone. And you can't move to a new area and be independent.
No.
Like,
you can't.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Right. It is. Some people think they can, though. What do you say to the people who say that they can do that?
You better be ready to work 24/7, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And be honestly a marketing genius.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's not
it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible.
It's not impossible, but
right.
You better be a social media genius.
Yeah.
You better know your numbers. It's so much more than just getting a suite and putting some plants in it.
Right.
So I feel like social media kind of makes it look like that. Yeah. Hang your neon sign up
and
with some plants, and you're like ready to roll your few bottles of Shades of Cute. No.
Not how it works.
No.
Nope. Okay. So because obviously there's good and bad in any structure. So what were some of the biggest adjustments in that transition? Because I do know, how long were you independent before you came to Hustle and Heart?
Not long, because I only lived in Portland for 2 years.
Okay. And you were kind of forced into...
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say completely forced, but... So I started out there at a salon that I was like a new hire, so I was hourly.
Okay.
Hated that. Did that for like a month.
Right.
In reality, wasn't bad money.
Yeah.
But... I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah. You're an independent gal.
I don't like being told what to do, so it didn't work.
Right.
Then I went commission, and then at that point, I did it for a little bit.
Okay.
And they were like, wow, you'd make so much more money independent. You'd make so much more money independent. I'm like, really? And everyone else there was.
Sure.
So I was like, and they kept saying it. So I was like, okay. So then I do all the things. I invest in the color, which is like the biggest thing. I invest in the color. I do all the things. And then we move. And then, because we didn't know we were going to move.
Right.
It was kind of like a last minute, like, game day decision to move.
Right.
So then I had my old coworker, April, made out like a bandit because I sold all that color to her.
So you're like, I need to get rid of it.
I don't want to move it.
Right.
I kept thing of lightener.
Yes.
Her and a toner, and was like, oh.
The emergency stash.
Yeah. So that was
okay.
The big push.
What were there any surprising positives that you discovered? Things you didn't expect to love but did? Like, what do you love most about being commission versus independent? I know the answers to these for you.
Okay. Well, then what's the number one thing?
That you don't have to buy back bar. You don't have to do inventory.
You thought you were... Freedom.
Hey, that's part of freedom.
The queen of taking vacations.
It's true. This girl, we had to have a conversation. Was it last year? I'm like,
You were like, Meg, you took off a month last year.
Meg, do you realize how much? It was more than a month.
Yeah.
It was like 38 days or something.
It's just.
And that's work days. That's not including weekends.
My dad always says, you can take off as much time as you can afford.
Exactly. Yes. But I remember just being like, my financial advisor's like, so there's this stylist, and do you know how much time she's taken off? I'm like, totally aware.
And it's not even that I'm going on.
No, extravagant, like
No,
Europe.
I'm literally going to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan.
She's not backpacking through Europe.
I'm going to see my family.
In Michigan. Well, you did have your honeymoon and you got married.
Yes.
And so there was a lot of time off for that stuff. But
okay, so what was the original question? It was asking things.
like what things that you didn't expect to love but do being in a commission salon.
What do I love?
Mm-hmm.
It just fit with my lifestyle when moving to Duluth.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got married, honeymoon, seeing family.
Yeah.
Just being, I don't know, the lifestyle of it.
Right.
Not having to worry about anything.
Kind of being able to clock in and clock out.
Pretty much, yeah. Being able to clock in and clock out, it worked. Yeah. I mean, it worked well for me.
I mean, you are still like very much like you've always been one of our top stylists when it comes to like creating content and like exposing, right? Having exposure on Instagram because I
love that about being independent though.
Yes.
Like I love creating my own thing.
Creating your own brand.
I think that stuff's fun.
Yeah. And I think it's so important no matter where you are, whether you're commission or independent, that should be something that you do across the board. Because if you're invisible, you're invisible. Like people aren't going to book you if you're invisible.
I've said this at staff meetings before too. Like you're not, I mean, are you really going to work at Hustle and Heart Salon for 30 years and retire?
Right. Exactly.
Like let's be real. Like
honest.
Have your own
brand identity.
Be your own person because things shift. Like whether it's the salon or you know.
Yeah. And we talked about that in the podcast with Haley where it's like, I don't want cookie cutter. Like I know people who have salons and it works for them and it's beautiful and that's great. Where they're all like, they almost look the same. They talk the same. Their Instagram, everything is just the same.
Easy in like the extension world.
Yeah, for sure. And that's cool and that works for them, but I've never wanted that. To me, it's always given me the ick. And I hate to say that, but for me personally, it's like I want everyone to be truly authentically themselves. And I even say, and this is coming from the business owner, I'm like, if you were to ever leave my space, you want something to be able to tell people where you're going. You want to have that connection and Instagram is the place to do it. Like if you're invisible, you're invisible. You don't want your salon to be like your only exposure because what if you leave?
No.
Right? Like, yeah. So totally you and I have always been on the same page when it comes to that. Okay, so do you feel like you've grown more as a stylist or even just as a person by being a part of the team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always so funny to look back at like even like different stages in like my career. There's like there's pros and cons to like every single thing.
For sure.
And you learn I don't know, more about what you want, what you don't want, like every like step of the way.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's big in this industry. That you just have to kind of throw yourself in it.
And see what sticks.
Kind of. Yeah.
All right, now let's get into the portion that's the bitter and not the sweet. And that's being a military wife. So you got married, how long is it? 2 years?
Okay, first I want to say, it's like, yes, my husband's in the military.
Yes.
But I want to like leave space for the people that, because my husband not just works. He works 9 to 5. He doesn't go underway. He doesn't deploy, you know, all those things. So I guess just recognizing that I have it good. Yeah. I do have it good.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's spouses out there that are grinding.
Yeah. Their husband's gone and they're,
Yeah. For like months at a time.
No, like you guys have a beautiful setup for sure, but you do have to move.
Yeah. No, no, there's definitely like big struggles with it, but also like
you want to recognize.
I feel like leaving space for those people who do this times 100.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with being a military wife and a hairstylist, like it's kind of like a really hard, you don't hear that very often because it's a very
And
difficult thing to do.
People assume like, oh, you can get a job anywhere. That's like the common thing people say, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you can get a job anywhere. It's like, yep.
Yeah, no, that's not really the case.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, maybe you could, but are they places you'd want to work? Like that's the thing too.
Well, it's like I can get a job, but it doesn't mean I'm going to make money.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure that's frustrating to hear. You're
I'm
just like, yeah, oh, haha, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so with being a military wife, it means you're constantly moving. When I say constantly, it's like, what, every 2 to 4 years, roughly?
Lives in Portland too. Live in Duluth. 3. My
Yeah.
next move, though, I will get to live there for 6 years.
That's awesome.
Like a guaranteed 6 years.
That's fantastic.
Which is like laying down roots.
Yes. Does that feel good?
Yeah. I hope I like it.
I know, right? You're like, well, if I'm putting roots down, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm sure you'll love it. Okay, so what has it been like for your career with having to move? Let's just talk about that.
What's it been like? So first part of my career, worked 5 years in Michigan. Small town. And it's like crazy to think back. Like if I never would have moved, what my career, I don't even know if I'd still be doing hair.
Right.
Because there's just, and it was a different time though too. There wasn't, like now there's so much education, like online education about like business building and all those things.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have.
It's easier to market yourself
We
now.
didn't have that back then. So that's crazy to think of. It's been hard to relocate somewhere and to not know a single person.
Yeah.
I think that's what stops a lot of people
Oh,
from.
for sure.
People say all the time, oh, I'd move, but my clientele's here.
Right. Or people quitting the industry because it's just too hard. And there's no shame in that because, I mean, I don't, like, I've even told you, I'm like, I don't know how you do it because it's like you put so much blood, sweat, and tears and time and energy into like building something,
and
right?
It's really hard to be motivated.
Yeah, because like, there's there's an end date stamp.
Yes.
And we've talked about that. We've had honest conversations from like, let's just stay engaged, right? Because I can't imagine how hard that would be.
It's really hard to stay. And it kind of feels like you're living a little bit of a lie.
Right. Because
like
you kind of have to convince yourself.
Like even right now, I'm moving in
soon. Like a month.
I'm done. And some clients know and some clients don't.
Yeah. Like one of the clients yesterday, she's an old client of mine who you took on. And she was just like, I just found out Meg's moving. And for me, I'm like, I've known this for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, I suppose like you're probably just now starting to tell some people.
Some people, pre-bookers.
Yeah, because you have to.
Like some people know and some people, and there's some days I don't even have the energy to tell
the same story.
Because it turns into, oh my gosh, do you have a house? Do you have it? No,
You're like, I'm figuring it out.
I'm moving a month and a half and I have nowhere to live and I have no employment.
Right. Yeah. You're like,
don't remind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like It's
like, it's like an open wound that you have to repeat over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like it's exhausting.
And the people working around me must be like, shut up.
We don't want to hear it anymore.
Same story again and again.
Because that's one thing that we don't talk about in our industry is it's like we hear each other's stories over and over again.
You better love the person that works next to you.
You gotta love them because it's like when you were getting married, right? You're
and I've learned to love like mocha and latte.
Yes.
Yeah, those are my dogs now too at this point. Like everyone has their thing. And it's like what you relate to people with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, so I think this is pretty, like the hardest part about having to move every few years is what for you? Rebuilding, probably.
Rebuilding.
Yeah.
And just, like establishing a new home somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm a homebody.
You are.
I'm like not adventurous. I just want to be like
comfortable.
In my little house. Just want to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just also too, I think wanting to be in a community.
Yes.
It's hard. You know, because now we're like 30s. We don't have kids. A lot of people at this point, making connections with people.
Right.
Most people have kids at this point, and they're
Yeah.
doing their thing,
Sure.
so finding community.
Yep. Pause for a second, because not all hair salons are created equal. At Hustle and Heart, we're all about clean beauty, no harsh chemicals, no toxic color, just intentional products, sustainable practices, and hair that actually feels like you. Whether it's extensions, color, or real solutions for hair loss, it's never just an appointment here. It's an experience. Come feel the difference at Hustle and Heart Salon, where your beauty routine gets the upgrade it deserves. Learn more at hustleandheartsalon.com. What have you learned about yourself through all of these fresh starts and relocations? Like, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself?
I'm a mama's girl.
Yeah.
No, how much I'm just a family girl.
Mm-hmm.
And how, I don't know. I'll say little things don't matter, because I am pretty dramatic and little things do matter.
Yeah. But perspective.
Yeah, I would say perspective of things.
Yeah. Like when someone's like, oh, this happened. Yeah. I get like the trauma. We've talked about that, when it's like, oh, people talk about trauma and it's like,
yeah.
I get
Yeah,
that.
I feel like that's probably the.
Okay. And then if another stylist came to you and said, I'm moving and I'm scared, I won't be able to rebuild, what would you say to her?
Probably not. I'm just kidding.
Good luck.
Good luck. No, just be ready to work. And if you still want to do hair and you don't want to be all in on social media, not even just social media, but like kind of take control of your own situation, then go work for a franchise salon.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with
Nothing
wrong with that. I think some of the people who work at Great Clips in Duluth and Superior, those locations, they are working like dogs.
Hustling.
And their paychecks probably don't skip a beat.
Right.
Not a beat. They're clocking in, clocking out.
It's consistent. It's,
And there's more than just that, because I don't know if there's any Ulta would be.
Ulta would be like a franchise. Yeah.
Which I don't
we
even
don't
know.
have as many like corporate salons like we.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Penny's. Does Penny's have a salon still? JC Penney's? They might.
In my hometown, there was the JC Penney's.
Yeah, and I came from a corporate salon, and those are great places to like kind of just plug into if you're wanting like a. I mean, you're still having to. It's different now, because when I think of back when I was in a corporate salon, it was a different world. Like, I'm assuming it's probably still having to market yourself a little bit more now, no matter where you are, other than like cost cutters, because that's like a
sports
wham bam.
clips.
Like, you're just in out all day long. Like, they don't even like pre-book. Like, I think it's just you
get on a wait list
and you just wait.
Last time Sean got a haircut.
Yeah. He went there.
I send my husband to Great Clips.
I don't do my husband's hair either.
He goes to Great Clips, and they're his girls, and he loves them.
Yes.
But I think he got on the wait list on his phone on the website.
Yeah.
140 minutes.
That's wild.
It's
just it's a different world. But one of our stylists came from there, and I remember she was just like, wait, I get an hour for a haircut? I'm like, yes, ma'am. She's like, okay. Because she was just used to having to get them done because they would get timed. But yeah, anyways, with working at a place like that, that would be a perfect situation for some people.
And honestly, when I was out in Oregon, I started doing freelance for bridal companies.
Oh, yes.
And that was kind of like my saving grace. That was instantly, I was like making money.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like quick and easy money.
Yeah.
And the women
and they did all the work, like the contracts and all that for you.
They tell you where to go.
Yeah. And you just show up.
Where to go,
and get
how
paid.
many you're doing. And they pay, and it's, I'll say it's quick money.
Yeah.
But there's like nothing really to it.
Yeah. So that would be like a good option. I mean, I don't know how like contracts and stuff work when you work at a cost cutters, but like that could be an option for somebody. Like if they want to still cut hair and do hair and then do weddings on the side for a freelance company.
I don't know.
That'd be a great way to start.
Everything's different. Even when I was working commission out in Portland, they didn't care what I did.
Yeah.
They're
really?
No. Huh. I mean, they didn't. I got to do whatever I want. Even when that's why it's crazy I went independent.
Yeah.
because they didn't care.
Right.
They were like so chill.
Huh.
It's like how you think it would be working
Right.
there.
Interesting.
Like I remember asking, will I be able to take time off for the holidays? And the boss was like, yeah, just don't take a month off.
You're like, okay.
Oh, I think I took 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
But they just sure. Go ahead.
Just chill.
Go work those. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those new stylists who are relocating, they're scared, they have to rebuild, there's options. Either honestly finding the right space that works with the lifestyle that you have probably would be the number one thing. And that could be working at a fast in and out salon where you don't have to market yourself. You clock in, you clock out.
And I will say, it's easier to find a job when you have a job.
Yes.
Which I feel like I sound like an old man saying that. But even like when I moved out there, I didn't know what I was doing. Ended up at that hourly salon.
Yeah.
I was on it trying to find a new place. And
Yeah.
I was bringing home a paycheck.
Right.
I mean, I didn't like working. It lit a fire underneath me.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like if you are in a financial position, like you're trying to make money, it's like get in the door somewhere like that and then go from there.
And then find something else that fits you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And just be prepared to have to work hard. If you're going to go into a traditional salon and have to build from the ground up, like asking the salon owner, like how many new guests come in here a month? I feel like that's a really great question to ask if you're a new stylist trying to figure out if the salon is the right space for you. Like how many new guests come into the salon a month? What pay structure do you have? Like where would I be? Because obviously a lot of times like the stylists who are lower pay point typically get booked quicker. So how comfortable and willing are you as a stylist who maybe have a little bit more experience? How comfortable are you lowering your prices a bit to start fresh to build your clientele a little bit faster? I feel like that's a thing too that you could do that would be helpful to build fast.
Yeah.
Or just get lucky and find a salon owner who stops doing colors and take over her clientele.
You know, I have from Michigan out there. It's like always be nice to other people's clients.
Yes. You never know when their butt's going to be in your chair.
It sounds kind of snaky to say that, but smile at people's client. How's it going?
Talk to them.
Say hi because you know what? It comes a time where they need to switch.
Yes.
I have built my clientele the past 3 times from other people's clients.
Absolutely.
Because then in Portland, Jolie had moved.
That's right.
And so she, you know, her and then another, the gal that worked with her, Meg, they fed me a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because
so be a good person to work with. Be a good coworker.
Just be a good person.
Be a kind person.
Kind of.
Yeah. And it'll come back to you.
I think so.
Okay, so let's talk about what's next. Where are you headed next and how are you feeling about it?
I'm moving to Connecticut and probably like every emotion tied into it.
Right.
Because I love living in Duluth. So I'm sad to leave Duluth.
Right.
I'm originally from the Midwest, from Michigan. So it's like I'm comfortable in the Midwest. They're like my type of people. So it's going to be different going out there. I haven't spent any time on the East Coast. I've been to like Boston once.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Is DC considered East Coast?
I'm not sure.
DC. Yeah, I'm a
hairstylist, not
I really haven't been out there much. So just like learning it.
Yeah.
Work-wise, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of exciting.
I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm too far out from applying to places. So I'm just kind of
waiting. Well, and kind of figuring out where you land too.
And like, I don't know where I'm going to be living.
Yeah.
So I've made the mistake before of having a long commute, getting a job, and then I have a 40-minute commute.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that.
And I'm not into that. Which I don't even know the lay of the land out there.
Right.
To even know.
So it'll be good just to get settled. So the plan is get settled, move, get settled, kind of scope out the area. You'll for sure be doing bridal because that's like that's your thing.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like in between, like, do I want to go into a space and start this clientele ground up thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like love doing bridal independently.
Yeah.
Like lean into that
Mm-hmm.
because I just think I can build quicker that way.
Absolutely.
It's
for
really
sure.
hard,
You're already established in that field.
in that field. And I've
Yeah.
done it before where I've had to go out, get my own clients,
Yeah.
the booking software, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Start networking, getting connected to wherever you're
Yeah,
living.
it's fun to
and
me to go
Yeah.
that way. So
That
I'm
might
kinda
be
like,
what it is.
I don't know what to do
Right.
right now, so I'm doing nothing.
Yeah. You don't know, just be patient and wait.
Yeah.
No, I think what you're doing is right, is just kind of getting a lay of the land, figuring out like where you're going to end up and then moving on, like figuring it out from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, like the priorities aren't like, what am I going to do for work? It's where am I going to live?
Yeah, finally
Yeah.
getting like home life stuff established
Mhm.
first. 'Cause
Getting
that's
your roots
that's
planted.
most important.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the most important.
So finally, where can people follow along with you as you head into this next adventure?
I'm going off the grid.
She's going off the grid, guys. No, you're not. Like Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to post?
I know. Just
Life?
post about your adventure. People would love it.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to I say I'm going to take a social media break maybe, but then
Yeah.
it's like,
Give her a follow.
I've been
And she'll
busting
be
my butt
back.
on. I'll be back.
She'll be back.
I'll be back.
She
With
loves it too much. She'll be back.
I'll be back with something.
Yes. She likes to be the spotlight. She'll be back.
Yeah. I don't mind the attention.
She likes the attention. She'll
Honestly,
be back.
personal life stuff gets more
Mhm.
attention anyways.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, I want to follow along.
Yeah, no.
Asher wants to follow along.
Yeah. So yeah.
Bring us along on your journey.
Hair by Meg. I almost said Meg Dale. Meg Murphy. Life by Meg Murphy.
All right. So, Meg, what a ride. You came in hot with the most iconic application I have ever read, saved my butt when I didn't have a colorist, locked yourself out of the salon with a guest, and somehow you still managed to make it all look effortless. You've made such an impact here. Your humor, I'm going to cry.
Oh my God, don't cry.
It's not a podcast with me if I don't cry. Your humor, your honesty, your let's just figure it out attitude. It's been a gift to this team and our guests. Oh. And yeah, we always knew we'd only get you for a few years, but that doesn't make it any easier to see you go. The door's always open. Just, maybe double check the handle next time. Make sure it's not locked.
There you go.
Thanks for joining me.
Yes.
Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your time is valuable, and I'm honored you spent it here. I hope something in this conversation met you right where you are. If it stirred something in your spirit or spoke to your heart, I'd truly love to hear about it. My DMs are always open. I love connecting with you. And as you go, just remember, you're not walking through this life alone. Until next time, stay grounded, keep showing up, and keep leaning into the purpose that's been placed on your heart. I'll be right here, cheering you on with my whole heart.